What's up, spectators? Welcome back to the episode of Danganronpa 2. Last time was some weird, trippy episode where I don't know what's going on, and we'll see. I'm willing to bet almost everything will be revealed this video. So we're back in the vault and the setting of the first Danganronpa game, and we're going to the gymnasium. Something might be waiting, but I'm not going to cower away anymore. And so I brace myself and cautiously open the door. I wasn't prepared for what was waiting for me on the other side of the door. It was a normal gym.
Damn right.
Yo, Hajime.
Yo.
You heard the announcement it came here too? You guys did too, right?
What's going on?
What do you make of all this? Monokuma said this place was Hope's Peak Academy or something. That can't be.
Well, yeah.
You're right. Any way you look at it, it's impossible. How does it feel to return to long-awaited Hope's Peak Academy?
Why, you...
Where are we? Where'd you lock us up this time? What a shock! I just told you guys, this is Hope's Peak Academy.
Of course not.
There's no way in hell that's true.
No.
But it is. I mean, this is definitely Hope's Peak Academy. Well, what's left of it?
What?
Didn't I tell you before? Unfortunately, Hope's Peak Academy fell to ruin.
Lies.
You were serious? But of course it fell to ruin. I mean, they were doing things that they deserved to be ruined for.
I don't like this.
Anyway, I'm pretty disappointed. I went to all this trouble to bring you to Hope's Peak Academy, and you don't feel surprised or nostalgic.
Fine.
Oh, well, it's not like I did this for you guys. Even if you don't feel nostalgic, I'm sure someone's feeling nostalgic.
Don't fuck with me.
Enough with this bullshit. Just spit it out already. Where'd you take us? Though I'm not certain of my memories, I believe we entered the ancient ruin and...
In other words...
It means... I made this Hope's Peak Academy between the door to the ruin and the inside of the ruin. What do you mean between?
Hey.
What do you mean made?
What's this?
Are your minds getting the grumblies that only knowledge can satisfy? Good. It's fine to hurry along to the graduation exam, but it's in my nature to provide a little entertainment. You're planning to make us do something, aren't you?
No way.
It's nothing to be so cautious about. It's not like you'll be making life exchanges or anything. It's just a simple graduation exam.
Huh?
What is it?
Hey.
Well, as the headmaster, I'm conflicted, you know. On one hand, I'm really happy that you're finally going to graduate.
Are you sure?
But on the other hand, I'm worried about whether you guys will be okay in the outside world.
So...
That's why I'm thinking about telling you what the outside world is like before you make a decision. Whether you want to leave or stay. We're obviously going to get out. There's no way we'd stay here.
That's right.
This is annoying. Just hurry up and let us choose.
No.
You can't do that. The main cast hasn't arrived.
Hey.
Meaning you guys are just extras until the guests of honor arrives. So enough complaining already. Hurry up and start researching the outside world. What do you mean? I've dispersed all the teaching materials you need for your research throughout the academy. I don't think this needs to be said, but all the information's accurate and contains no lies. Otherwise, the main cast is gonna hate me. So please rest assured and strive to do your best. And as usual, after leaving us with his cryptic words, Monokuma disappeared. Even if the setting had changed, even if the killing was finished, he was still the same as usual. What's going on? Outside world? Main cast? Somehow I have a bad feeling about this.
Hey.
Like he kept insisting that this place is Hope's Peak Academy. But that's impossible, right?
What are you saying?
How do we make it back to Hope's Peak Academy from a tropical island in the first place? It's impossible.
It cannot be.
There's no place for Hope's Peak Academy to exist on Jabberwock Island. I said I wanted to go back, but I don't want to go back to a creepy place like this. What does this mean? So many things I don't understand have happened on this island. This building is really Hope's Peak Academy. I was finally able to attend. I thought I'd become confident in myself. Even so. Wanted to become Hope? If that's what you're thinking, just stop. Listen carefully. The only humans worthy of becoming Hope possess amazing talents and a strong will. And the moment you're born into this world, you either have that or you don't. It has nothing to do with effort. You must be chosen by Hope to become Hope. That's why it's not even worth admiring. Or were you so blinded by your admiration for Hope's Peak Academy that you couldn't even see it? You're just some nobody from the reserve course who never had a talent to begin with. A nobody who forgot he was a nobody, that's all. Hajime, did something happen?
Hey, bastard.
Now's not the time to zone out. Sorry, it's nothing. I don't get it, but is that all?
I'm gonna do it!
As long as I don't beat the crap out of Monokuma, nothing's gonna be solved. Is that what it means?
Hey.
Just what the heck is Monokuma anyway? He's not part of the Future Foundation. If you say that, then what is the Future Foundation?
Jeez.
Even though Chiaki and Monomi are gone, our situation hasn't changed one bit, which means the Future Foundation wasn't our enemy. That's the only thing I can think of.
You serious?
So they're not World Ender. Then we really were tricked by Monokuma.
However...
The Future Foundation is responsible for trapping us on this island, right? Regarding that matter, I believe Monomi never once denied it.
Damn it.
Even if they're our allies, they might not just be allies. Maybe Monokuma is telling us to investigate that information on our own. Chiaki said she could not betray the Future Foundation, but if she were still alive, she definitely would have helped us. Even her just being with us would have been a big help. So what should we do?
Damn it.
That's obvious. If we're gonna get out of here safely, we have to do the graduation exam.
So annoying.
I'm not really good at taking exams. Well, guess it's better than people dying.
Jeez.
Monokuma said something about a field trip. Is he telling us to investigate like we have been?
All right!
I'm gonna do it.
Prepare yourself.
Like...
We might be able to learn about something. I don't care if we don't know anymore. If we can just go back to our normal lives, I'm fine. We can go home when this is over, right? If that's the case, let's all leave this island alive.
Of course!
He's right. Now's not the time to bemoan how unlucky I am. Where this place really is, what's happened to Hope's Peak Academy. None of that matters. What's important is, I need to leave this island with the others. We sacrificed so many lives in order to survive just so we could do that. There's no way we can stop now. But Monokuma should already know that that's what we're thinking, so why did he say it? We have to decide on our own. He should already know that we'd never choose to stay.
Hey!
So what are we gonna do? Can we start? But what are we looking for? Do we just have to investigate this weird building?
Even so.
I don't think we'll find the answers to all our questions inside this building. Well, I'll just go ahead for now.
Whoa!
You're already going?
Jeez.
What is that idiot thinking running ahead without being cautious?
Man.
She obviously isn't thinking about anything.
However...
It'll be fine. There will no longer be any situations where we must exchange each other's lives.
All right!
So we should do our best as well. Like they say, it's not scary if everyone stops at a green light. If we stopped at the green light, we'd never reach our goal.
Jeez.
Akarane already took off on her own. It might be faster if we split up. Like Sonia said, if there's no more killing, we don't have to worry about anyone betraying us. Let's get this over with and go home.
Later.
I'll go ahead.
Excuse me.
Oh, Ma. Miss Sonia!
Oh, hello.
I knew you could do it.
Interesting. Huh? That's weird. This is the hallway I walked through to get to the gymnasium, but it's clearly different. Is this Monokuma's doing? Is he trying to confuse us again? I don't know how he's doing it, but he keeps doing it over and over. I'm not gonna fall for his trap. There's no way this will make me back down. Whoa. There's a strange feeling to it, no? As if an invisible wall's been erected to limit our movement.
I am concerned.
Is it just me? You are a robot. I am a robot. Oh, this is weird. Okay. I'm about to level up. Step into the dojo. It's full of strange things that make me think there's no way we're inside a school. Perhaps it's a mistake to expect the inside of this building to make sense. What's this? A manga? This title is Manga for Morons, History of Hope Speak Academy. Why is a manga with such a suspicious-looking title laying out in the open? Let's start with history first, class.
Hey,
Reading manga is the third best way to learn about history. Then what's the first, you ask? That depends on the person. I really want to ignore it, but there's no way I can. I picked up the manga off the floor and started flipping through the pages. It's an introduction to the Academy's history, as narrated by the cutesy character on the cover. The story begins with an introduction to Hope Speak Academy. A government-funded school of privilege where only the most talented high school students can hope to attend. Built to raise hope in the nation's future, many of its alumni are key leaders of various industries. New students are chosen through a scouting process, but the ones who scout them are Academy's teachers, who serve as both educators and researchers. The Academy isn't just a school for talent, it's also a school for researching talent. However, for the past few years, Hope Speak Academy has been suffering from a decline in funding. If this persists, the Academy believes it will not be able to make progress with their research of talent. So they decide to implement a new system. The Reserve Department. Unlike the main department who scouts for students, the Reserve Department utilizes a general entrance exam. Normal faculty was hired and placed in charge of looking after the reserves. The expenses and exam fees are quite high compared to most high schools. Nevertheless, the Academy received an endless stream of applicants. Hope Speak Academy was now available to talentless commoners, people who only cared about the brand. With this, the Academy managed to amass sizable funds and began further research. To create the Academy's earnest wish, a true genius who would become mankind's hope. But just when they thought everything was going well, an unprecedented incident occurred. So they're trying to make the ultimate, probably. The incident that triggered the tragedy, the biggest, most awful, tragic event in human history. It was the tragedy of Hope Speak Academy. It was crippled by this incident and was forced to shut down without accomplishing anything. The end. The ending was so sudden, like a manga that's suddenly cancelled in the middle of its run. Plus, these phrases mentioned at the end of this manga, the tragedy. These names are so melodramatic, there's no way these incidents really happened, right? It only mentions the name, so I don't really know the details, but it'd just be a waste of time to wonder about things that don't make sense. I learned something because of this. The Reserve Department. It was only built to collect money. I was one of those students, right?
but hold on.
That's weird. Oh, you're here again. The thing that's weird is you.
Hey,
Why'd you forget that you were part of the reserves? The Future Foundation only took away your school life memories, right? But you should have known even before you entered that you had no talent. So I think it's weird that you actually forgot something like that. What do you want me to say?
by the way,
Based on my assumption, the Future Foundation must have wanted to hide the fact that you were one of the reserve students.
I got it!
Or you willingly sealed those memories yourself. You wanted to be confident in yourself, so you wanted to forget everything that embarrassed you. You know, when humans experience trauma, sometimes they erase their memory. It happens pretty often, not that I'd know anything about that, though. Are you saying it's my fault I forgot?
Come
When things get inconvenient, you always get angry and try to brush it off. Well, that's expected of a reserve course student. That target seems pretty far away. If the production team had more time, there could have been a minigame here. What am I saying? Oh, that's funny. It's armor and helmet. Did the map developers design this to reflect the Japanese dojo? I get it, because they're Atlas. I'm thinking. There's a straw post. I guess that means it was used for training. Wait, Atlas? They're not Atlas. Are they Atlas? No. It's Spike Chunsoft. Right, okay. There are a bunch of wooden lockers here. Each of them has a traditional-looking wood block, a key sticking out of them. I guess they're just for show. Nothing in particular that looks like a clue. Where did I come from? This way? Hello. Huh, he came here out of nowhere.
What's going on?
This hallway, it's kind of creepy. I can't go to places that I should be able to go. It's like some rule is being enforced for no reason. It's like there's an invisible wall or something. Wait. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Oh, come on, come on. Where am I supposed to go? It's another manga lying on top of the desk. Wasn't the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy mentioned in that other manga too? It's why Hope's Peak Academy went bankrupt and the trigger for the biggest tragic, awful event in human history. If I read this, will I be able to learn a little more about the incident? I took it from the desk and started flipping through the pages. The story made heavy use of outdated, stylized drawings depicting characters solving mysteries. What's written here is, as the name suggests, the tragedy. The key player in that event was a student named Izuru Kamakura. Izuru was a genius known as a symbol of hope. Hope's Peak Academy used all their resources to develop him. Supposedly, Izuru was a genius among geniuses and possessed various talents. Wielding superior talent for the hope of mankind, the Academy referred to Izuru as the ultimate hope. To protect such rare talent, the Academy completely concealed all evidence of his origins and identity. Because of that, most of the students at the Academy were completely unaware of his existence. But Izuru, who was known as the symbol of hope, was responsible for a horrible incident. 13 students of Hope's Peak Academy's council, among the Academy's best and brightest, were brutally murdered by Izuru. However, the incident did not end there. The Academy tried to protect Izuru's superior talent and concealed the incident as though it never happened. A certain student began working in secret to use that incident to their advantage. That student uncovered what the Academy did, and by making that knowledge public, it stoked the fires of reserve corps students who had long been dissatisfied with how they'd been treated. And the uprising began. And that heralded Hope's Peak Academy's destruction. This is the entirety. Eventually, that incident would lead to that horrifying, devastating incident. Works cited, Danganronpa 0. With a heavy sigh, I closed the manga. Am I supposed to believe this? There's no way 13 people were killed at Hope's Peak Academy. What irony! For a genius known as the ultimate hope to cause such a gruesome incident, a talent like that's too regal for society. It's like trying to buy juice with a bar of gold. You should be lucky that you're incompetent. He always has to lead up to something offensive. He pisses me off. But ultimate hope. Nagito mentioned that before too. What Nagito said was the true meaning of hope. But for Izuru, hope simply means talent. More importantly, a genius who possesses various talents. I wish they'd given me one of those talents so I didn't have to be in the reserve department. That's right, the reserve department. Here it's said that the reserve course in the reserve department began uprising. Oh, I'm having a hard time talking. Then what about me? Was I a participant too? That's not possible. There's no way. I have no reason to do something like that. Tragedy of Hope's Peak has been added to the Truth Bullet section of your handbook. Anyway, I've learned about the tragedy of Hope's Peak Academy, but the biggest... This incident's messed up, but all it's doing is raising more questions. The mysteries kept piling up. Okay. Where do I go? Ah. What is with this room? It's cold in here. It's like I'm in a freezer or something. If I just stand still, I might end up freezing to death. I should hurry up and investigate. 16... Oh, hello.
I've been found.
16 slabs in here. Very interesting. I knew it. The next one would obviously be about this incident. I flipped through the pages and hoped that I was right. A story about creepily drawn characters who get involved in such horrifying incidents. Is this drawn so grotesquely because the incident itself is that grotesque? The beginning of this creepy manga starts with this sentence. At first, the uprising by the reserve course students that triggered the tragedy was initially hoped to be resolved quickly, but the situation continued to escalate to dangerous extremes. The movement started spreading all over the internet and fostered a thriving online community. It was not limited to students, and people of various races and nations began joining in. But the movement was not confined to the internet and began spreading and eroding the real world. When the movement started, it was indistinguishable from any other demonstration inspired by social unrest. But as it spread across the world, certain abnormalities soon came to light. By then, it was too late. The ends and the means had vanished, and wanton destruction became their only goal. The strong butchered the weak killed the weakest among them, and soon the weak formed factions to brutally murder the strong. As the violence and death continued to spread, the shock of their actions began to disappear. As if the era was regressing to more uncivilized times, when senseless deaths were the norm. The media was oversaturated with deaths to the point where people would watch them while enjoying a meal. By the time the world realized what had become, it was too late to stop what had happened. A feeling of immense despair began spreading and eventually engulfed the world. Acts of terrorism and coups d'etats began occurring around the world. A war waged in the name of despair. A war fought not for principles, just war. And because of that, there was no way to resolve it. How could a movement started by high school students progress to such a hopeless scenario? The only explanation is the existence of a certain organization, devoted to a certain student who influenced Hope's Peak Academy. A group called Ultimate Despair. Instead of using the Academy's talents for the mankind's hope, they used them for despair. Key members of society use their influence to brainwash the masses. Tech-savvy programmers wrote software to spread despair. Powerful and influential created new values and morals to spread despair. The tragedy. Despair. World. Tragedy. My heart was racing in my chest, but my body felt ice cold. And it was because I was freezing in this room. Tragedy. If it's true, then what's happening in the outside world? Family and friends. What's happened to them?
No way!
Are you yelling at a manga? How crazy are you? Who would enjoy reading this?
What?
You don't like it? A high school student who doesn't like manga is like an office lady who doesn't like to eat candy. What is this? I thought you'd obviously know about such a horrible event that destroyed the world, but for you not to remember that, such despair. That's the Future Foundation's fault. Though, thanks to them stealing your school memories. The incident that happened has been removed from your brains. There's no way that's possible.
What are you saying?
How many times do I have to tell you? All the clues here are real.
Hello.
Please understand, I'm rooting for you. If you don't learn about the full extent of the outside world, you guys will suffer. I just want to help you guys so you can live well-adjusted lives in the outside world. So that's how it is. That's what he meant by what he said at the beginning. That thing he said at that time, at that point. Well, as the headmaster, I'm conflicted. On one hand, I'm really happy that you're finally going to graduate. But on the other hand, I'm worried about whether you guys will be okay in the outside world. That's why I'm thinking about telling you what the outside world is like before you make a decision. Whether you want to leave Jabberwock Island or stay here. He's trying to make us feel despair toward the outside world, so we'll want to stay. But there's no way I'm going to do what he wants. Despair like that simply can't exist. Whether or not this incident really happened, what in the world is this ultimate despair group? If they're devoted to a certain student who guided the academy to its destruction... If they were actually able to do it, then I guess that's why they were called Ultimates. Then all the killings were involved and connected to them as well. I'm gonna freeze to death. I'm at my limit. Shivering, I ran out of the freezing room. That was close, I nearly froze. Where should I go? I bet there's a person out here now. Maybe not. I should ignore it. I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see him.
Jeez.
When I went inside this room, that bastard bear was suddenly here. He keeps glancing at me. Wonder why. It's gonna be shitty either way.
Damn right.
So I'll let you handle it. There's no way I'm gonna deal with that idiot. I don't want to do it.
Hiya.
Hello! Hope you're doing pleasingly well. Are you? What are you doing?
No.
There was another thing I needed to tell you on this floor. I got bored of drawing manga. Can you forgive me for telling you by word of mouth? Should have done that from the beginning. I don't want to read your manga in the first place. A high school student who doesn't like manga is like a sumo wrestler who doesn't like eating hot pots. I'm getting fed up with your babbling. Hurry up! It's about that key piece of information you've been waiting so long for.
What?
It's about ultimate despair. Even though the term ultimate despair refers to a group these days,
Actually.
it was originally the title for a high school girl who was the most powerful, evil, and feared person alive.
Yes, indeed.
Lady Junko Enoshima. I remember her.
Hey.
As the former ultimate despair, she created a despair brimming with charm and humor. And created the ultimate despairs. There was only one really horrible person in that group.
Don't fuck with me.
I don't know what the ultimate despairs are, but it's not that easy to form an organization. There's no way people would join some fucked up organization created by the high school girl.
Unbelievable.
Humans who are obsessed with their philosophy have an uncanny power to attract others. It's a trait shared by many famous leaders throughout history, right? Nothing strange about it. That holds true for Lady Junko. With her charismatic ability to attract people, she even influenced those in the highest echelons of power. Her connections were the main reason that incident became the tragedy. She even recruited people who would have been in a position to neutralize the threat? Then what was their purpose? Why did they cause that incident? They had a purpose, right?
Hey,
It was Junko Edashima's despair. For her, despair isn't about purpose, a set of principles, a way of life, or an instinct. Despair is what defines her as her. What are you saying? I'm a stuffed plushie. Hajime's human. It's exactly like that. Junko is full of so much despair that she's truly hopeless. Living, dying, eating, loving, for her, everything's despair. With her overwhelming force of personality, Junko recruited the ultimate despairs one by one. She controlled them by taking advantage of their love-hate grudges. Her despair is far more dreadful than any other. And so the despairs who had been recruited became nothing more than Junko's limbs. All despair, whether it was their own or anyone else's, was dedicated to Junko. Like believers making offerings to their god. They killed their families and friends and even destroyed their bodies through relentless mutilation. And to hopelessly top it off, they completely believed it was something that they had to do. There's no way something that crazy is possible.
what?
Do you know about the final days of the reserve course students during the tragedy?
In other words,
Junko has the power to change people's values. This is also true of famous people. What do you mean?
of course.
They fulfilled their role as disposable limbs. They believed in what they needed to do. And so, the 2,357 students of the reserve department all committed mass suicide.
What'd you say?
It wasn't all of them. One person was excluded. Is that me?
Damn it.
I don't believe it. There's no way I can believe this. It doesn't scare me at all. I mean,
Bastard.
Junko's already dead. Ultimate Despair has been added to the Truth Bullet section. Oh, well, it's been over 30 minutes, so why don't we end this video here? So stay tuned for the next episode, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye!